guys, it's Ariana. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we are going to be reading some more scary stories. So I do have my wicked candle in here, and I do have my hot chocolate candle in here ready to go. It's already lit and it smells so good. So I have nothing really to ramble about or talk about, so I'm just going to jump into these spooky stories. So I was on a Reddit forum, and it was those who lived in a haunted house, what was your experience and was it traumatic? And I have a couple comments that I want to read because the stories are really good, and I've gotten permission from the authors to read these. So the first one is from Having a Breakdown 2, that they lived in a haunted apartment for about 2 years. They never really believed in spirits until they weren't given a choice. There were some serious dark things living in that building. It scratched, choked, lights turning out, doors slamming open and closed, shadow figures could be seen, and they had night terrors. They had a hand grab their ankle and try to pull them out of bed. They were in a constant state of dread. The apartment across the hall had serious poltergeist activity. Their door would open at random times when they weren't home, and their TV would blare static. Footsteps followed behind you up the stairs, and they could hear noise from vacant apartments. This part is the part that scared me the most. The elevator would take you down to the basement instead of the floor that you meant to be at, and something had latched itself onto them that took forever to shake. I hope I never experience a place like this again. So I messaged them and I asked them if they had any other stories. They haven't got back to me yet, but if they have any other stories, I'll definitely update because that is fucking terrifying. I hated the elevator part. The elevator comment scared the crap out of me because that just literally reminded me of the movie, I think it's Annabelle. There's like a scene where it takes her down to like the garage, which is like in the basement or something, and then like you see like the devil thing. Oh my God, I hate that. No, I hate it so much, oh my God. So fucking scary. So another one was experience living in a haunted building. And this is from the paranormal section and the Reddit author ThrowRad969696123, and it's titled My Experience Living Near a Haunted Building. I've been wanting to tell the story to people so bad, and now I can. When I was 14 or 15, during the summer, we used to travel up to Pennsylvania to visit my great aunt and my grandma. It was usually my mom, myself, and sometimes one of my sisters that would go with us. My brother and other sister would stay home with my dad. We usually only stayed there for a week or two. Where my aunt lived, it was the country. Like the closest neighbor was a good ways away. When I was up there, I would hang out with my older cousin, who was 17. They lived near a huge abandoned rundown building. You could see from my aunt's house. It had a huge amount of land. My cousin says it was a mental hospital, but my aunt says that it was a hotel that had been shut down. I've tried looking it up, but I haven't found any information on the building. I remember this night very well. My cousin had a girlfriend. The girlfriend had a younger sister, and I was interested. My cousin was going to sneak out and visit her, so I asked if I could go. He said no, but reluctantly agreed after a few pleases. To explain the path, if we went through the dirt road that was lit up by a few street lights, it was an easy 30-minute walk. If we walked the land by the building, it was 10 minutes. He took a flashlight with him, and we made our way towards his girlfriend's house. Mind you, it was close to 1 a.m. The way that we had to walk by an old building. I don't know why, but it gave me the willies walking by it. It felt like you had eyes on you. The path there, nothing happened. We got to the house, and we ended up leaving at almost 3 a.m. When we were walking back, my cousin commented on how eerily quiet it was. This was a rural area where you can hear bugs and the nocturnal animals. He told me to walk fast. I made fun of him for being scared, and he told me to cut it out. I remember kicking a rock on the ground. We were probably 100 feet away from the building when he palms my chest in a stopping motion. I look at him, and he has a shushing motion and points forward. His face said it all. I've never seen him like that. He was not an easy person to frighten. I look up, and all I could see was something white spinning. Like if a person wearing a dress was spinning, like they were dancing. It was dead silent. I moved the flashlight from the ground towards the white thing, and it was a lady, super pale with black hair. As soon as the light hit her, she stopped and evaporated. She was heading towards the front door of the building. From where we're at, we can see the street lights on the dirt road. My cousin and I didn't speak on the way home. When we got to his room, I asked what the fuck that was. His response shook me to the core. He said, I don't know, but I saw it staring at us from one of the windows of the building when we first walked by it. I just didn't want to scare you. That explained why he was so serious and didn't want to joke with me on the way back. I have another experience with that building, but I'll share with you at another time. So I messaged them and I was like, do you have any other stories that you want to share? And they haven't gotten back to me yet, so hopefully they share some more updates. If they share an update in the future, I will definitely read it for you guys. That is absolutely terrifying. So another encounter of the lady in white. It's always a ghost girl in a white dress with black hair. That's so fucking scary. Like, oh my God. But thank you so much for allowing me to read your story. And then another comment for the just haunted apartments, haunted buildings. Have you ever lived in one? This is from the Reddit author Point Defiant, and they said, "This sounds like a place near where I used to live. It was an old abandoned house on the corner of two busy streets, built back away from the road behind some trees. Imagine a Victoria-style house with a huge yard. There was always rumors that it was haunted, and you could see when you went and looked at it that people had broken in. My friend and I would have to get off a bus next to this house every school day. And every day we would all talk about how we were going to go to that house one day, but never did until her older brother dared us to. It took a fair amount of convincing, but we did it. As soon as we got through the window, I immediately felt like we needed to get out, but I didn't want to come off as a chicken. So through the hallway and into the bedrooms we went. There was nothing in there, but it still couldn't shake the feeling that someone wanted us out of there. We came around to the other end of the hall, into the kitchen, and we were using our phones for light. There were some things left there. Old food wrappers, candles, old clothing, and what looked like some sort of blanket or a sleeping bag. That's when we heard it, a really loud noise from the back of the house, where we had just come from. A very loud, almost animal-like growling noise. We didn't stay to investigate the noise, even give a second glance. We just jumped out the window that we had come through as fast as we could. Do I necessarily think that this was paranormal? No. I mean, it could have been, but I also think it's more likely we disturbed some person. So they broke into a house that is apparently haunted and they heard a growling noise, and it could have been a person, it could have been a ghost, it could have been an animal. That's fucking terrifying. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your story. That's so fucking creepy. I do have an update from one of my Instagram followers from her story that we read a couple of videos ago. So I'm just gonna scroll to our messages and give you guys the update. So this is the one where they had sleep paralysis. I said, oh my God, you legit saw the Hat Man. And they said, I know, right? I honestly didn't even think that it was the Hat Man at first, because all I know is that I saw this massive humanoid masculine shadow coming at me with these 1 to 2 foot claws. I knew he looked familiar, and after I searched him up, I was like, oh my God, I literally saw him. So I said, oh my God, that's so fucked up. Has it happened again? And they said, yes. I've actually seen him the same day. So when I broke out of my sleep paralysis the first time, I stayed awake for about 2 hours or so, and by then my nephews and my niece was awake. And I had finished video chatting with my best friend over Facebook Messenger. I remember going into the kitchen and getting another pot of coffee for myself since I was feeling tired. As the coffee started brewing, I had this eerie feeling of being watched from behind. I thought it was probably either one of my nephews or my niece, but as I turned around, there was no one there. The feeling of being watched never subsided. I recall walking back to the room I was staying in, closing the door halfway, crawling back into bed, and I continued watching videos and replying to my friends. For about 15 or 20 minutes, I was multitasking and switching back and forth between talking on Discord and Messenger and watching some other videos on YouTube. And I tried to focus on what I was doing rather than the ever-present feeling that I was being watched. I was sat facing the doorway, my laptop on my legs, and I started multitasking. It started to work for a little while, and my uneasiness went away. I felt this odd wave of fatigue that hit me, and I decided to take another nap. I say odd because beforehand, I wasn't tired enough that I wanted to sleep. This wave of sleepiness hit me hard and out of nowhere, and that doesn't happen to me very often. I knew both the front and back doors of the house were locked and secured, so I didn't worry about anyone coming into the house uninvited. And my nephews and niece knew not to open the door to anyone. They always come to alert me if someone was at the door. As I lay down, this time on my stomach, I closed my eyes and I started to drift off. Almost instantaneously, this time, I did fall asleep and I dreamt about the same masculine shadow figure I saw during my sleep paralysis. In the dream, I was running away from him and he was chasing me. He wasn't running after me, rather walking briskly. He took these long strides, so long that even when I was running at full speed, trying to get away from him, he remained behind me. I didn't know where I was supposed to go in this dream, as it was an unfamiliar place. All I knew was that it felt like I needed to get away from him fast before he caught me. I remember stumbling over something hard, but I couldn't see what it was. I tried getting up again, but found myself too weak to pull myself up. I felt my heart start to race with adrenaline as this entity closed in on me. He reached out, put his fingers around my throat, lifted me off the ground, and was moving his head to look up at me. I had this deep, intense fear wash over me. I felt like he was amused and was entertained by my reaction. I also honestly thought he was about to either stab me with his 1 or 2 long foot claws, or he was about to choke me to death. Thankfully, before anything else could happen, I woke up. And yes, this time I stayed awake. I haven't seen him since. Although other paranormal experiences have happened to me. I can share more with you if you want. You can definitely send me more. They haven't sent me any more, but I will definitely read more of their updates when they do, because that is so fucking creepy. I've never experienced seeing anything like that in sleep paralysis. I've only ever had sleep paralysis once and I didn't see anything, thankfully. But the fact that you've seen the Hat Man multiple times is so fucking terrifying. I don't know what to do in those situations or what we can even do to help you. If anyone has any advice, leave it down below, and hopefully somebody can help you never ever see that thing again, because that is so fucking creepy. So I have one more story that I want to read. It's from my DMs again. They said, "Hey, I just remembered this creepy, unsettling paranormal event that happened to me in my house. So about 3 years ago, me and my family moved into this new house. I did some research on it before we moved in, and it showed no deaths or anything. All was well, and we started moving in our stuff. And on one night, I was upstairs by myself, my daughter, my mom, and my boyfriend and my cousin were all downstairs, and I was unpacking, and I heard someone whisper, 'Hey.' I looked around expecting my daughter to be upstairs, and I didn't see anyone. I just brushed it off and ignored it. Well, fast forward a couple weeks, and I go to the garage by myself, and no one was home, and I was all alone. And I was putting stuff away in the fridge. I feel a hand touch my back and say hello, and I quickly turn around and say, 'Hello, who's there?' And there was no one there. I just pushed everything into the fridge and went inside. Well, the next day, I got up at 4 a.m. to go for a run with my 2 sisters. While we walked out, our neighbor was outside, and she stopped at me and introduced herself, and we got to talking. Out of nowhere, she said, 'How does it feel living in a haunted house?' The old man who used to live there with his wife died in that house. And she said that she had a conversation with him 3 weeks after he apparently passed away. I found out from my wife that he had died the day after I had just talked to him. She said he looked like his normal self, not see-through or anything, and that he was rocking in his rocking chair in the open garage. I looked at her dead in the eyes and said, 'Please tell me you're fucking kidding.' And she said, 'No.' I told her my story. I was so shocked, I thought I was going crazy. A couple of other things have happened to my sister in the house, to see like a lady wearing white, and that's how they ended the story. So they saw the lady in white again, and their neighbor apparently saw the guy that passed away 3 weeks prior, and he was just in his garage sitting on a rocking chair. What the fuck? Oh my God, these stories are crazy. I've never experienced anything paranormal to like this degree. You guys are so brave. I would be moving out of these houses so quickly. Oh my God. But this is where I'm going to end the video here. My eyelash is already lifting, and I have been reading these stories for like 40 minutes now because I filmed another video today wearing a different look and everything, but I filmed a video today already, so I'm done reading for now. But thank you so much to everyone for allowing me to read your stories. If you guys have any more paranormal stories, Let's Not Meet stories, or just creepy stories in general that you want me to read on the channel, please feel free to email me or message me on Instagram, and if they are appropriate, I will definitely read them on my channel. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys did make it to the end of the video, please leave your favorite space emoji, and I will make sure I will comment or at least heart all of the comments that are left. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys did enjoy this video, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below for more content like this, and I will see you guys at the next video. Bye.